Inconceivable! You keep using the word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I am checking out Giant Size X-Men Nightcrawler #1, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by the illustrious Alan Davis. Carlos Lopez is your color artist, and I gotta say, a lot of people were messaging me and telling me how excited they were about Alan Davis doing this issue of Giant Size X-Men Nightcrawler #1, and how he's one of their favorite artists. And if you go back and look at his chops, I mean, he's done a lot of great books over time. I mean, he's done everything from Uncanny, Wolverine, Thor. He's done some of the Thanos books, Guardians of the Galaxy, Daredevil, Captain America. I mean, Avengers. He's done everything. And that's just on the Marvel side of the house. Over at DC, he's done Detective Comics. He's done Batman and the Outsiders. He's done JLA. I mean, he's done some really good books. Anyways, guys, before we get started, make sure you reach over, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Make sure you leave a like, and we'll get right into Giant Size X-Men Nightcrawler #1. The book begins with Magic, Eye-Boy, Cypher, Nightcrawler, and Lockheed all coming through a portal into the Xavier school, where it's completely abandoned. Of course it is, because all the mutants are hanging out on Krakoa now. But it's been completely overgrown already with just weeds, grass, trees, everything. And what is revealed is that they've had several attempts by individuals to come through the gateway from this side, but it's denied them for whatever reason. That in and of itself isn't unusual. They have humans trying to do that all the time, they explain. What's different here is that when this happened, there were mutants in the vicinity. Well, it's at that point that Eye-Boy goes about doing his thing and checking absolutely everything from infrared to night vision to whatever else he's got, and doesn't see anything, but he does notice that there's been recent movement everywhere. And when Nightcrawler asks, "Is it human?" Trevor responds, "No, not human, but I can't make out what it is." And then they hear something in the woods, and that's when Lockheed absolutely flies off the handle and starts torching everything. Well, Nightcrawler managed to bamf over, grab Lockheed, and put him in a chokehold and get him down to the ground so he doesn't burn the entire mansion to the ground. And that's when Nightcrawler looks up and suddenly sees John Proudstar. Magic comes charging in, and Nightcrawler looks away, and when he looks back, Thunderbird's gone. Kurt tries to shake this off and drive on with the mission, but right after that, he hears something behind him, looks over his shoulder, and he sees Rachel in her Hound outfit. So he bamps after her, tries to run her down, but he can't catch her for whatever reason. So he goes back to the group and is saying, "Look, I could have sworn I saw Rachel, but she looked wrong. She was a Hound." And Eye-Boy is like dressed in red leather, serious heels, spikes everywhere. And Kurt's like, "Yeah, you saw her too?" It's like, "Yeah, she's standing right there." So the group gives chase. They follow her deep into the underbelly of the mansion, and finally Kurt manages to catch her. But when he does, it's like she's in some kind of trance, and she's speaking in just gibberish. Well, in the meantime, Cypher reaches over and touches the wall, which is pulsing for whatever reason, and when he does, he's pulled inside of it. Well, Doug ends up falling through to this other side, and there's this giant ball. Well, he quickly identifies it as a repurposed antimatter drive of alien origin for whatever reason. He turns around, and suddenly there's this bug-like creature behind him. Back with Nightcrawler and the rest of the group, Rachel had gotten away, so they followed her again, and they take her to this pod thing. And when they finally approach her and they say, "Look, time to tell us what's going on," Rachel responds, "I'm trapped, sleepwalking." And she explains how she's lost, she's been left behind, she's alone, and she needs someone to help her. And as she's explaining this, suddenly she starts melting away into these beetle creatures, which are called the Seedry, and are actually a callback all the way back to Uncanny X-Men 154. And what we know about the Seedry is they are basically intergalactic bounty hunters. And basically these little beetles aren't a joke. But jumping back to Cypher, he is sitting there and starting to have a conversation with them. Of course, he's interpreting and learning their language and asking them, "Hey, look, say that again, but slower." And he's like, "Look, okay, look, I get it. We all are a little territorial, but you don't have to get punchy about it." So as Cypher's trying to figure this out, the rest of the team is in a huge fight with these things, when finally Kurt tells Magic, look, go find Doug. Well, Magic, about 6 jumps later, manages to find him, pops in this room and sees what's going on, but then sees Warlock is there. And of course, Illyana is shocked. She's like, okay, Doug, normal arm, twinkle in your eye. How long have you and Warlock been playing this game, and why? And in what is probably, it's a really cool reveal, but it doesn't go anywhere, unfortunately. They just say, look, you got to keep this secret. You got to keep it between us, and we'll tell you later. And with that, Doug goes back to work talking to the Seedry and what's going on, the problem they're having, and working through it. And like I said, what they've actually done here is they've made a deal. And with that, the rest of the team, the fighting has stopped. Cypher and Magic teleport back into the room, and Doug is explaining what is going on. Well, what you find out is that the Seedry needed their help to get rid of Lady Mastermind, who had come to the mansion to take the portal to go to Krakoa, when suddenly she was jumped and captured by the Seedry. Well, when they captured her, she used her powers to control them in a way and use that to reach out to the team, and that's how she called for help. She kept trying to send something through the portal. That's what was registering there was a mutant in the area, but it was failing to go through, and that's eventually what sent the team. And then her showing those apparitions is really what got their attention. So she subconsciously did all this, I guess. Well, like I was saying, they made a deal with the Seedry, and what the deal is look, Lady Mastermind is going to go with them. They're going to take her to Krakoa, and they're going to just leave them the mansion. They're going to stay clear of the gateways so that, mutants can still come and go through Krakoa to the mansion and travel through. But basically, they're going to be left alone down there. And while Doug thinks it may actually end up being a problem at some point, Nightcrawler's kind of more optimistic about it and says, what, maybe not. Maybe, just maybe, this will all work out. And that's the end of the book. Okay, so what do I got to say about this book? The biggest and most obvious stick in the eye over this is the fact that this was called Giant Size X-Men Nightcrawler #1. And this was basically New Mutants, and I'm okay with that. This would have been a fine New Mutants book. You didn't really need Nightcrawler in it at all. Other than the reference to Thunderbird, this book would have worked without him. Now, this is after we just had X-Men #7, which really did feature Nightcrawler and him discussing a mutant religion and a very interesting concept that really focused on Nightcrawler. I almost wish they would have taken and swapped these two issues. It would have made a lot more sense. My guess on why they didn't is because that mutant religion piece is going to play into a much bigger storyline in the book, and they don't want a one-shot off to the side like this to really mess with that. But they should have just had this as Giant Size X-Men Cypher #1, or Giant Size New Mutants #1, something. But because it wasn't a Nightcrawler book. Something else that's going to be interesting is what is going on with Warlock. Warlock being back is interesting because, well, first of all, back in X-Men #7, we saw Warlock, Doug, and Krakoa sitting there having a conversation as Cyclops walked by, and then when he looked back over his shoulder, suddenly Warlock was on Doug's arm again. Going back further than that, we know that Cypher touched a leaf there on Krakoa when he first arrived and left a part of Warlock on that, like he was infecting it. It's going to be interesting going forward to see what's going on with that, if Krakoa's complacent in it. Whatever it is, it seems like a storyline and a nugget that Jonathan Hickman is definitely building to, and he's pretty proud of, because it's gotten spread out for quite some time now. Overall, I did enjoy the art. If I did have, I guess, a complaint on that, it would be that if you wanted the horror aspect of it, it should have been darker. But that's a minor complaint. I thought the art was good. I didn't have an issue with it at all. I really liked the way that he drew Nightcrawler, I prefer the somewhat muscular Nightcrawler as opposed to the super skinny framed Nightcrawler. I mean, he's an athletic guy. He shouldn't be, you know, built like a stick. I mean, he's thin, but he's wiry, you know? Wiry. Anyways, guys, I want to say thank you to everyone who's watching and all my subscribers. We're about to hit 4,000 subscribers, which is something I thought, you know, impossible when I first started doing this. So thank you to everyone who's hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Also, I want to apologize. I know I've been in a bit of a content drought. I haven't been able to knock out any videos lately, but my workload has like increased exponentially here in the last couple weeks. So it should level back out here shortly after we get past this crazy time that we're in right now. And I can't wait for that so I can get to knocking out, you know, videos every day or every other day at least. Anyways, guys, subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you haven't already. And I appreciate you. Real Comic Stacks out.